All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Once again, before we get started, I want to send you all our well wishes during the current pandemic of COVID-19. We know that it's a very rough time right now for people. We know that the uncertainty is what fuels our anxiety, and we know that there seems to be no end in sight. They're talking about rolling out vaccines possibly by November, but let's just be mindful to continue to do our part with the washing our hands, wearing our masks, practicing social distancing, following all the safety protocols to slow the spread of this disease that we really know nothing about. And if we at Chin Check Radio can serve as a distraction to everything that's going on, that is something that we are very proud of. And also, we definitely want to thank you all for your support. And I say this and I mean this, is that at least once a day or every few days or so, we're being hit up by somebody who definitely discovers our program. They like what they hear, or they pass it on to somebody else, and they like the content. So we thank you all for your tremendous support. We know with everything that's going on, the fact that you found the time to even listen to what we have to say, we are honored and humbled, and we continue to bring you quality programming, and we thank you very much for that. Now, on this broadcast, it's kind of been a long time in the making. I will admit, I have kind of slacked off on trying to get it out so fast, but we had other issues going on. And I wanted to complete my all-time Dallas Cowboys football team. Now, if you go back and look at some of our archives, I've done our all-time NFL defense and offense. I've done our all-time Dallas Cowboys team. And I guess with this is celebrating 60 years of the Dallas Cowboys franchise, I guess everybody is now doing their all-time Dallas Cowboys thing. I know recently ESPN did an article about comparing the Jerry Jones' Cowboys versus the Tom Landry Cowboys and how many Hall of Famers. Now, of course, with my age, I grew up watching all of the Jerry Jones Cowboys. So, and I've done other broadcasts. You know that we are a hub of Dallas Cowboys information as we prepare for the season. You know we're going to do our analysis after each and every game, good, bad, or indifferent. And we try to give an honest criticism, really, of the team during the season. I'm really not going to do a review. People ask me, am I going to do a review of the season? I try not to, because reviews can be, you can predict something good and it ends up being something bad, and predict something bad and it ends up being something good. So we just don't know. I mean, injuries can happen. We just don't know in the NFL. Of course, with this off season, you know, players not having OTAs and mini camps. So this is unprecedented, so we just don't know. But of course, I will be tuning in as they play the Los Angeles Rams that first Sunday, which is christening the Rams' new palatial palace. So definitely something that we look forward to, but definitely something that I did want to complete is something that was a little bit more complicated than what I thought it was going to be, is choosing the Chin Check Radio all-time Dallas Cowboys offense. So we've done the defense, now we're doing the offense. And it's something that's fun as a lifelong Cowboys fan. Definitely, you brought a lot of memories. So definitely going to have fun talking about it. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. And for all you Cowboys haters, tough, deal with it. So, and that would include you, Lil Cuz, Big Warren. Yes, I'm calling out names. John, my nephews, the mom Stephanie. So this for all of you all who probably going to be hating listening to this broadcast, but just going to keep hating. All right, let's open up with at quarterback. I think kind of goes without saying, and I'm sorry, before I jump too far ahead, our criteria for this Dallas Cowboys list are players who play for the Dallas Cowboys at least 4 years. Now, we have players who might have played for other teams, but we're looking at their statistics while they played for the Dallas Cowboys. And we were thinking 5 years, 4 years, but we figure at least a good happy medium would be 4 years. So those are players that we chose. You had to have played for the Cowboys at least 4 seasons, and obviously have been productive, produced at a high level, or at that time when you played, you were definitely better than other Cowboys that I grew up watching. So this is a team that's based on Dallas Cowboys that I grew up watching, again, starting from 1990 to the present. So let's jump right into it. At quarterback, I think it's needless to say our starter is going to be quarterback Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, who played for the Dallas Cowboys from 1989 to 2000, won 3 Super Bowls, Super Bowls 27, 28, and 30, was a Super Bowl 27 MVP, 6-time Pro Bowl from 1991 through 1996. I think goes without saying, he is the greatest Dallas Cowboy quarterback in my lifetime. Some make an argument, possibly the greatest Dallas Cowboy quarterback of all time. Again, I didn't watch Roger Staubach play, so that's something for people who are old enough who can compare the two. And definitely Aikman was the leader of that team. Unfortunately, I think injuries cut his career short, specifically the concussions. He suffered a lot of concussions while playing for the Cowboys, but Troy definitely was a fiery leader. I believe a good program to watch is his Football Life on the NFL Network, where he talks about how much success he had during the early part of his career and really couldn't replicate that high level of success towards the end of his career. And you could tell he was kind of frustrated with things. He liked that hard style of a Jimmy Johnson where it was holding players accountable. Him and Barry Switzer clashed. There was a part where he's going off on the sidelines about coaches not getting on people, about people making mistakes. So he clearly was a leader of that team. I remember there was a game, and I forget who they played, and he took a sack. And I remember he spikes the ball and starts going off on one of the linemen who clearly missed an assignment. So clearly Troy Aikman was the vocal leader of that team. Obviously, when you're the quarterback, you have to be the leader, and you never really heard of Troy Aikman being involved in anything off the field. It is good to see him now being the lead analyst for all the national games, for all the games on Fox. I remember when he started announcing, it was him, Chris Collinsworth, and Joe Buck. But eventually Chris Collinsworth went to NBC, and he does an excellent job with these Sunday night NFL games. But just having Troy Aikman, a guy that I watched as a child, a guy that I rooted for, now being the lead play-by-play for all the national games on Fox, it says a lot. And as a Cowboys fan, I'm very proud of that. And I know other Cowboys fans got upset with Troy, or they get upset with Troy because he's very critical of the team, and he should be. His job is to be a broadcaster, not to be a player. He does a great job. So Troy Aikman is our starter, bar none, no questions asked, was that player. And ironically, during Troy's career, I've always felt, even though with his success, I've always felt he was slightly overrated, and here's why. Even though he was a #1 pick, Heisman finalist, led the team to the Super Bowls, folks will say that, well, he was a product of being part of a great team. And during Troy's era, he played with the Joe Montana, John Elway, Dan Marino. So we're talking all-time great quarterbacks. So he definitely gets kind of knocked down a peg when you think of great quarterbacks. Brett Favre. And then towards the end of his career, you saw the rise of a Peyton Manning. So it's one of those. Steve McNair was in the league at that time. And so it's one of those. Troy kind of gets overlooked when you think of all-time great quarterbacks. Steve Young, even though he's beaten Steve Young in 2 out of 3 NFC Championship games, but Steve Young is generally regarded as a better quarterback than Troy Aikman. So really put this in perspective. Troy Aikman played in the era and won 3 Super Bowls, playing in the era of Joe Montana. You had Phil Simms in his division, Dan Marino, John Elway, Steve Young, Brett Favre, and defeated Brett Favre repeatedly in playoff games, and yet still doesn't get the credit like those other guys do because he was seen as being a quarterback for one of the greatest dynasties in NFL history. So Troy Aikman, starter, by far, the Chin Check Radio all-time greatest football team. Now, here is where there was a lot of thinking and a lot of going back and forth for the backup quarterback spot. And right now, for our backup quarterback, I'm going to go with quarterback Tony Romo, who played for the Cowboys between 2003 and 2016. 4 times Pro Bowl, 2006, 2007, 2009, and 2014. Second team All-Pro in 2014, and the league passing yards leader in 2014. Now, Tony Romo. His career is the ultimate. Hadn't done enough. I believe 2-4 in the playoffs. Never got a team past the divisional round. Almost seen as a joke. In the era we live in, you have to win Super Bowls. Tony Romo played in an era where Eli Manning in his division won 2 Super Bowls. Ben Roethlisberger won a couple of Super Bowls. So a lot of quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers went to a couple of AFC championship games. So that's where Romo gets knocked, not having the postseason success. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has been in NFC championship games. And Russell Wilson has won Super Bowls, been in NFC championship games. Colin Kaepernick went to a Super Bowl, has gone to NFC championship games. Romo unfortunately doesn't have that on his resume. Alex Smith once went to an NFC championship game. And unfortunately with Romo, he gets criticized for not having a postseason success, and rightfully so. But this guy pretty much carried that team on his back for a long time. And unfortunately, as they started to build a more complementary team around him, is when unfortunately his body broke down. Now, Romo's career did not play for 2003, 2004, 2005. And in 2006, there was some whispers and rumors of people noticing Romo. Now, the Cowboys had Drew Bledsoe, who, I'm going to be nice, was very stiff in the pocket, had no mobility in the pocket. And a lot of the argument for the team was Drew Bledsoe can be a good quarterback if you can protect him. But I think that would apply to any quarterback. Quarterback can be productive if you can protect him. The problem is, especially in 2005 and 6, you had to have about 7 or 8 guys on the line to protect Drew Bledsoe. But again, Bledsoe was a Parcells guy. Bill Parcells always rode with his guys. But in 2006, especially when they had just signed Terrell Owens, that the team had a potential of going far that season. So in 2006, in a Monday night game, John, if you're listening, we were actually at this game. That was my first and only time going to Texas Stadium. Drew Bledsoe throws a very bad interception towards the end of the first half as the Cowboys are starting to drive. And at the beginning of the second half, you see Tony Romo jogging out into the field. And that kind of shocked, and that really took the crowd by surprise, shocked the crowd. We were like, well, wait a minute, there's number 9. And his first pass was an interception, and it really didn't go well. But the very next week, he goes on the road on Sunday night, defeats the Carolina Panthers, and that pretty much started Tony Romo. Pew. So Tony Romo leads the team to the playoffs. I felt they actually could have done more, but leads the team to the playoffs. Now, I actually blame Parcells for that loss because the Seattle Seahawks, again, and I mentioned this on a previous broadcast, the Seattle Seahawks at that time in that NFC wildcard game, and they were actually the defending NFC champions, had a bunch of guys literally off the street, including a former Cowboys player by the name of Pete Hunter. And instead of spreading that team out 5 wide to attack their weak secondary, Parcells wanted to play conservative. And it came down to Tony Romo with a final game-winning field goal and bobbles a snap, and we know the rest is history. And from that point on, Romo was given the distinction of not being able to win the big game. In 2007, 13-3, the year after Parcells retired, Wade Phillips is the coach, and they lose to the New York Giants, who eventually went to the Super Bowl, but was the first team to lose, especially under the new playoff seeding, to lose the first game as the number 1 seed, obviously at home. And we all know the famous trip to Cabo, Mexico during the bye week. Now, do I think that had anything to do with it? No, I don't. People forget I watched that team, and I watched that team closely, and they didn't play well going into the playoffs that season. I believe they played the Redskins in their final game. They looked awful, so they weren't really in sync, but they had the bye week. And I don't think that's what cost them the game, but of course it wasn't a good look. Then 2008, Romo gets hurt, gets back, and missed a couple games. 2009, he has to go to the playoffs. They win the playoff game. A lot of hope. They end up getting crushed by the Minnesota Vikings. 2010, he missed the playoffs. And starting a streak of 2011, 12, and 13, the team goes 8-8, losing, and this is Romo losing, except one year. I believe it was 2000. I'm going to say 2013 when he got hurt. But years in a row losing to a divisional rival in order to make the playoffs. In 2014, with the emergence of one DeMarco Murray, they go 12-4, shockingly. And in the famous Dez Bryant, and we'll discuss that later on, catch, lose to the Green Bay Packers. Romo gets hurt in 2015, 2016. He gets hurt in the preseason, which opened up the door for our third-string quarterback, one Dak Prescott. Yes, Stancil, I know you're listening, and yes, Dak Prescott is on the team. Dak Prescott drafted in the 4th round in 2016, went to the Pro Bowl 2016 and 2018, and was the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, Dak Prescott, I like the guy personally. I think he's a great guy. Seems to work hard, and I will give Dak that. Seems to work hard. My issues with Dak is that everything almost has to be perfect for him to be successful, because you saw in 2017 when Ezekiel Elliott, and people forget, when Tyron Smith was out, he was a very ordinary quarterback. You had games where he wasn't even scoring an offensive touchdown, or in some cases was only scoring one offensive touchdown. But he's bounced back. I mean, he's led the team to the playoffs twice, has a playoff victory, defeated the Seattle Seahawks. Last year, I don't know what the hell was that when he lost against the Philadelphia Eagles, against guys who were literally off the street. But Dak Prescott, for what I've seen, should be the Chin Check Radio, at least third string, all-time ranked quarterback. I don't have a problem with that. He's more than earned the right, considering that he saved that franchise. Now, put this into perspective with Dak Prescott. In 2015, the Dallas Cowboys only won one game without Tony Romo. And the game that they won was against what we know as the Washington Redskins, and now it's called the Washington Football Team. But they played the Washington Football Team, and if it wasn't for a Deshaun Jackson fumble on a punt return, that's how the Cowboys won that game. So the Dallas Cowboys in 2015 had a potential of not winning a single game without Tony Romo as a starting quarterback. They drafted Ezekiel, so that season facilitated them or got them the number 4 pick, which had them drafting Ezekiel Elliott. So a lot of excitement because you saw what one running back did in 2014 with that offensive line. Let's get another high star running back here and let's see what we can do. Romo, he gets hurt against the Seattle Seahawks. They put in Dak Prescott, and at the time, Kellen Moore, who ironically now is offensive coordinator, was a backup quarterback. He gets hurt. They put in a rookie 4th round draft pick, Dak Prescott, who took the job by the horns and never gave the job up. I believe won about 10 or 11 straight games, and he had to make a hard decision where do we take out the kid who's hot versus do we put in the established veteran? And I think that they made the right decision in staying with Prescott. He was a hot hand. He's been their quarterback since, and this is where we are. But this is based on more of a body of work is why I have Romo ahead of Prescott. Now, if you ask me, it'll be 5 years from now, depending on what Dak does with new coach Mike McCarthy, he might actually move up. But for my quarterbacks on the Chin Check Radio all-time football team, Troy Aikman, Tony Romo, and Dak Prescott. Moving on to my running backs. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think there's anything else to say except one Emmett Smith, who is the greatest running back of all time. Shaw, if you're listening, I'm going to say it again. The greatest running back of all time. Emmett Smith played for the Cowboys from 1990 through 2002. Super Bowl winner, 27, 28, 30. Super Bowl 28 MVP. NFL MVP, 1993. 8 times Pro Bowl. 1990 through 1995, 1998, and 1999. First team All-Pro, 1992 through 1995. 2 times second team All-Pro, 1991 through 1998. I'm sorry, 1991 and 1998. 4 times NFL rushing leader, 1991 through 1993 and 1995. 4 times NFL touchdowns leader, 1991 through 1993, and 1 year in 1995. 18,355 rushing yards, however, 17,162 of them are with the Dallas Cowboys, 164 rushing touchdowns, and 4,409 rushing attempts were both records. Folks, Emmett Smith, and I'm going to say this again, is the greatest running back that I've ever seen. Yes, I'll say it again. I didn't grow up watching Jim Brown. I didn't grow up watching Walton Payton. Didn't grow up watching O.J. Simpson and Eric Dickerson, Gale Sayers. I didn't watch them. I grew up around watching Emmett Smith, watching Barry Sanders, watching Adrian Peterson, watching Thurman Thomas. I've watched these guys, and Emmett Smith is the greatest running back that I've seen in my lifetime. Yes, I'm going to say it, and here's why. Now, yes, Barry Sanders was what we think of a running back, was a more pure, more spectacular, pure running back, spectacular running back, moves and bakes and shakes, not taking anything away from Barry. Okay, I'm not. But Emmett Smith was a complete running back. Now, complete running back is he was a running back, pass catcher, and can pick up blitzes. That's why I say he's the greatest running back I've seen in my lifetime. And I can make an argument possibly the greatest running back of all time. Because when you have the numbers like I just read out, you're the greatest running back of all time. Considering Emmett Smith was only 5'9", 205 pounds. It might sound a little bit blasphemy, not taking anything away from Jim Brown, but Jim Brown was bigger than most linebackers or was as big as most defensive linemen when he played. Emmett Smith was still small for any era at 5'9", 205, 215 pounds at the most. So Emmett Smith was a truth. Again, he was a running back. He can catch passes out of the backfield, and he can pick up blitzes. Don't we ask that for our running backs? And was a 3-down back. Most running backs today are only 2-down backs. First down, second down, third down, you probably put in some type of scat back or pass catching back. Emmett Smith was a 3-down back. If you needed hard yards, you give it to Emmett Smith, and he was surprisingly durable. Now keep this in mind, surprisingly durable. Now, here's how valuable that Emmett Smith was. People forget, and I bring this up anytime when people want to say, well, Emmett Smith wasn't that good. He was a product of the system. You sure about that? Okay. 1993, the Dallas Cowboys, with Troy Aikman, with Micah Irvin, with that offensive line, with Jimmy Johnson, with all those pieces, go 0-2 to start the 1993 season. Emmett Smith is holding out for more money. They had just crushed the Buffalo Bills team, 52-17. They lose to the Buffalo Bills. They lost to the Washington Redskins. So they're 0-2. Starting the season, the Super Bowl champs with a rookie running back called Derek Lassie. So let me say this again. You still had Troy Aikman. You still had Micah Irvin. You still had Alvin Harper. You still had the Great Wall of Dallas. You still had Charles Haley. You still had a Jay Novacek. You still had a Jimmy Johnson. So you have all these pieces in place. But the one piece that's missing is Emmett Smith. So same team now. Emmett Smith comes back after missing 2 games. Still leads league in rushing. Still leads league in touchdowns. Wins the NFL MVP. And if it wasn't for an absolute heroic performance against the New York Giants, and the old Giants said, and I remember watching that game because my mom wanted to take me somewhere, and I kind of begged and pleaded and slick talked my way out of going. And I remember that game I watched as a little child, as a young boy. Yeah, this I was a young male. When he got hurt, that scared me. For him to get up off that field and to save that team. Now, put this in mind, how important that game was. That game was for the division and a first-round bye. If the Cowboys don't win that game, quite possibly the Cowboys are not winning the Super Bowl that year. So that game was about winning the division, seeding, and playoff, and getting a bye in the playoffs. And they had to go on the road against a division rival. Now, yeah, this is towards the end of LT's career and everything, but it was still a formidable Giants team that had all the pieces there in place. So, and I believe Dan Reeves was the quarterback of that team. So they went on the road in a classic game. And if they ever want to show classic Cowboys games or Emmett Smith game, that is known as the Emmett Smith game. What he did against the New York Giants in my home state of New Jersey, that saved the Cowboys season, and it pretty much propelled them going to the playoffs and win that Super Bowl. Now, let's go to Super Bowl 28. The Cowboys are actually losing that Super Bowl in the very first half. So this is the Buffalo Bills, 4th straight Super Bowl, second time playing the Cowboys. They were actually winning that game. But for a Thurman Thomas fumble that was picked up by safety James Washington that was ran back, it Go back and watch Emmett Smith's football life. Emmett Smith says, we need to get the ball. And he ran that power eye all day down the Bills' throat and eventually wore the Buffalo Bills down. And it was Emmett Smith who was a Super Bowl of that MVP. So put this into perspective. This man won the NFL MVP that year and won a Super Bowl MVP the same season. Tell me, how can you even argue with this man is possibly one of the greatest running backs of all time? There's no argument. There's no arguing it. There's no discussing it. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the flashiest, but he was durable. He caught passes, and he picked up blitzes out of the backfield. So if you don't believe me, y'all can go see it for yourself. So no question, Emmett Smith is a starter on the Chin Check Radio all-time favorite football team. Our backup running back. It was hard again to make a decision with a backup running back. And I love when you have so many options, it's hard to make a decision. But I am going to go with Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to go with Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys running back, drafted number 4 from 2016 to the present, 3 times Pro Bowls, 2016, 18, and 19. First team All-Pro 2016, second team All-Pro 2018. Rushing yards leader 2016 and 2018. Part of the All-Rookie team in 2016. Now, if you notice why 2017 is not on the list, because that's when he served a 6-game suspension for a bogus domestic violence incident, which ironically he was actually leading the league, I think, either per yards rushing or was leading the league in rushing. So if you projected his stats out, he probably would have been number 1 or number 2 for rushing leader. Ezekiel Elliott, hair be damned, outfits be damned, is a damn good running back. Definitely a damn good running back. To be drafted that high at number 4 and still a productive back, and even though people say he didn't have a great season last year, still ran the ball relatively well, I thought. Now, it wasn't explosive as some people say. I personally think the offensive line wasn't really as good last year as it was the year before that. But Zeke definitely makes the world go round. He is as important to that team's success for Dak Prescott. Not to the same level of an Emmett Smith, but you see Dak Prescott is not the same player without an Ezekiel Elliott. Again, and the thing with Zeke, he can run the ball. He's not as flashy as, let's say, a Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley will get you that 60-yard run. Now, mind you, Saquon Barkley will probably have about 10 rushing yards in the first couple quarters and break out a long 60-yard run, much like a Barry Sanders. And Ezekiel Elliott, 2 yards here, 4 yards here, eventually becomes 7, 8, 9-yard runs where now the defense is now worn down. And Zeke is very durable. I don't believe he's missed a game for an injury. I don't think he has. I think in all the years he's played, the only games he missed is because, whatever, I believe in 2016, I don't think he played the last game. And in 2017, he missed a game because he was being suspended. Well, he was suspended. So I don't think Zeke has missed a game for any type of injuries. The guy's durable. A Saquon Barkley, he gets hurt all the time, while Zeke is much more durable. So I give Zeke all the credit in the world. Durable back, yeah, he's a little quirky in the hair and everything else with it. But in terms of on the field, I'm a huge fan of Ezekiel Elliott, and he can also run as well as catch passes. Go back to 2018, how he caught a lot of passes, caught the game-winning touchdown. Well, it was ended up being the game-winning touchdown pass, or eventually that was only touchdown pass of that game when they played the New Orleans Saints, who they were a heavy underdog. The defense played well, and that was the only touchdown. The only touchdown of that game was a screen pass to Ezekiel Elliott. So I go back to his rookie season, catching a screen pass from Dak Prescott, racing 90 yards down the sidelines against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Zeke is the truth. However you feel about him, but Zeke is the truth, and he definitely earned his spot already on the Chin Check Radio all-time football team. And number 3, running back, I got to go with my man DeMarco Murray. I love me some DeMarco Murray. From 2011 through 2014, 3 times Pro Bowl, 2013 through 2014, first team All-Pro in 2014, the Offensive Player of the Year in 2014, rushing yards leader in 2014, rushing touchdown leader in 2014, once broke Jim Brown's NFL record for most consecutive 100-yard games. Now, everything about DeMarco Murray goes back to 2014, where he had 1,845 yards and 13 touchdowns. Great season, great season, great season. Again, everything boils down to that Dez Bryant catch. But people forget DeMarco Murray had a very critical fumble in that game. And I remember like it was yesterday. The Packers had a perfect play call. It was a blitz to the left side. Cowboys had a perfect run to the right side. It was nothing except one defensive back in the end zone, but it was a lot of green. Julius Peppers, who made our Chin Check Radio top 10, who made our Chin Check Radio defense of all time, strips the ball, and DeMarco Murray had a little bit of fumbleitis during that season. Was very kind of, even the way he ran, he didn't really secure the ball like it needed to be secured. A very critical fumble, and that shifted momentum. So people forget that, but loved DeMarco Murray, loved his running style, loved the way he ran hard, and he wasn't a overly big, thick, muscular guy, but very powerful. There's a clip on YouTube about NFL trucks, and you see him trucking the guy or running the guy over. So I love me some DeMarco Murray. I thought his running style fit that offensive line. He knew how to make the cuts. He knew how to make the cuts at the right time. Go back and look at YouTube at that Seattle Seahawks game in 2014 where they went on the road and was the first non-NFC West team to beat Seattle in Seattle. And that was pretty much off the back of DeMarco Murray. And with him running and slashing and cutting like that, I figured his style was a perfect style for that type of offense. And love me some D. Murray. I hated the fact that he had to go, and obviously because of contract, he ended up going to the Philadelphia Eagles, and the rest is history, and I'm getting Zeke. But I couldn't leave DeMarco Murray off this list. Well deserved. You definitely could have wondered what would have happened if the catch was called, and I would have tell you what happened. They would have gave the ball to DeMarco Murray, and the Cowboys would have scored, and the Cowboys would have won that game against the Packers. They would have gone back to Seattle, who they already walked the dog on the damn Seahawks, and they would have been playing the New England Patriots that year in the Super Bowl. If you don't like it, go to hell. That's just what I believe. So definitely DeMarco Murray deserves a spot on the Chin Check Radio all-time team offense. And folks, now you know, if we're talking about running backs, I had to have Daryl Moose Johnston. From 1989 through 1999, won Super Bowls 27, 28, and 30. Went to the Pro Bowl in 1993 through 1994, and in 93, the first fullback selected to the Pro Bowl in that capacity. Folks, without Daryl Johnson, there may be no Emmett Smith. Power-eyed lead draw behind Daryl Moose Johnson, taking on some of the top linebackers of his time. And he doesn't get enough play. Naturally, fullbacks kind of don't get the glory. But you other Cowboys fan listening will know that Daryl Johnson was the truth on those 90 teams. Could also catch some passes out of the backfields too, a good special teamer. So Daryl Moose Johnson, definitely another broadcaster on Fox, and I miss Tony Romo being the lead announcer on CBS. So definitely Daryl Johnson had to be on his team, and quite frankly, he even put him in there as a starter. Can you imagine a Daryl Johnson blocking for Ezekiel Elliott or blocking for DeMarco Murray? Just kind of wondering, but definitely Daryl Moose Johnson had to be on the Chin Check Radio all-time Dallas Cowboys team offense. Moving to our wide receivers, I got to have the Hall of Famer Micah Irvin from 1988 through 1999, Super Bowls 27, 28, and 30, 5 times Pro Bowl 1991 through 1995, first team All-Pro 1991, second team All-Pro 1992 through 1993, and a receiving yards leader in 1991. Folks, Micah Irvin was the truth. The playmaker. Now, understand with Micah Irvin, he played in the era Jerry Rice, Sterling Sharp, Chris Carter. I mean, really, Sterling Sharp can make an argument he should be in the Hall of Fame, but Chris Carter in the Hall of Fame, Jerry Rice in the Hall of Fame. You had Herman Moore, a very productive player for the Detroit Lions. So Irvin played in the era of a lot of good wide receivers. And by the way, we're talking about receivers who went across the middle. Let me say this again. Micah Irvin was known for going across the middle. Very a physical receiver, pushed off corners on the line. You really couldn't physically manhandle Micah Irvin. And the battles between him and Deion Sanders are a thing of beauty. And Micah Irvin was the truth. Catch crossing routes. I mean, going across the middle, deep routes. So Micah was the man. I know you had Alvin Harper on the other side who was more the deep threat, but she needed a tough catch, and somebody who would take a hit across the middle was Micah Irvin. A lot of receivers nowadays don't go across the middle like that. The rules don't They go across the middle, but there's no consequence and repercussions for going across the middle anymore. Could the rules have been relaxed to allow receivers to run around the field freely? It wasn't like that back then, ladies and gentlemen. You went across that middle, it was no man's land. But, times change, the rules haven't changed. So imagine, if Michael Irvin was a productive player back then with the rules that they are now, what would he be doing now? So definitely Michael on the team, no questions asked, still full of energy, still loves his Cowboys, still roots for them hard. If you ever go to a Cowboys game, when they at the new AT&T Stadium, before the teams come out, they have a video of Michael Irvin pumping the crowd up. So Michael is still a Cowboy to his heart. So we love some Michael Irvin. His backup is going to be the late Terry Glenn. I got to show Terry Glenn some love. From 2003 to 2007, had 2 1,000-yard seasons in 2005 and 2006. Terry Glenn was a Bill Parcells guy. I thought Terry Glenn was a very productive player for the Cowboys. In 2003, he was paired up with college football analyst Joey Galloway to give the Cowboys a speed threat with Quincy Carter as a quarterback. As Parcells was still there, they brought in Terrell Owens in 2006. That opened up things for him a little bit, but I love me some Terry Glenn. I remember when he hurt his knee, and in 2007, played one game for the Cowboys, one regular season game. He played in that playoff game, but as they lost against the New York Giants. And that following year, during training camp, when they had the Hard Knocks, the HBO film documentary on Cowboys, they cut Terry Glenn that offseason, and Terry Glenn never played again. And Terry Glenn, may he rest in peace, but I definitely enjoyed him. My favorite moments was in 2005. He caught, when they played the Philadelphia Eagles in Dallas. Again, this is the Philadelphia Eagles team that had T.O. off the Super Bowl loss. They blew the Eagles out in Dallas, caught 2 quick touchdowns, and they were both to him. I remember they played the Eagles on the road. He caught a late touchdown to kind of keep the game close. He caught the game-winning touchdown at Carolina for the Cowboys, and this is when Drew Bledsoe was a quarterback. When T.O. was there, at first he was Drew Bledsoe's favorite weapon, but as T.O. was there and they started to utilize T.O. more with the emergence of 120 Romo, that's what opened the field up for him. So love me some Terry Glenn, and he definitely made the team. Our other starter, I got to go with Dez Bryant. From 2010 to 2017, 3 times Pro Bowl, 2013, 2014, 2016, first team All-Pro 2014, receiving touchdowns leader in 2014. Now, Dez Bryant, first round, Oklahoma State. Dez had a little issue in college, whatever reason. Say he lied about the relationship that he had with one Deion Sanders and ended up getting put out of school. So Desmond, or Dez, comes out and already catching passes for touchdowns, punt returns for touchdowns. I mean, Dez was the truth. He was exciting. Everybody loves some Dez Bryant. 2014 was his best season. That's what eventually earned him the big contract. Unfortunately, he ended up getting hurt. Production wasn't the same with the emergence of Dak Prescott going to the receivers. I'm talking about him in a second. But Dez in 2014 was the truth. I remember him against Jacksonville, about 3 touchdowns. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, had a couple of touchdowns. And again, oh man, got to relive this hard pain again. That catch in 2014, yes, it was a catch. He goes up. Was it Sam Shields? Goes up against the receiver, comes down with it. Great play. Took the 3 steps, and the rules stated at that time that if you make a football move, he came down with it. Now, people will say you have to complete the process of the catch. I agree. But when you make a football move, you become a runner. When you come down and take 3 steps, it becomes a football move. So he was effectively a running back. And I never forget when he made that catch, I jumped off the couch, I screamed, I started booking my plane tickets to Seattle because I just figured the Cowboys were going to win that game, and I'm going to be my first chance seeing an NFC Championship game in person. And they ruled it a no catch, and you could tell Dez was so disappointed in the post game, was like, it's a catch, and he couldn't believe it wasn't ruled a catch. And when they showed the game on the field, Dez was screaming, it's a catch. So definitely, I know some of y'all laughing at me tomorrow. Man, get over it. It was so long ago. It's still hard. And I say that jokingly, so it's still hard. But definitely Dez Bryant deserves his spot on the Chin Check Radio all-time team. And his backup is going to be his former teammate, Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley, 2012, through 2018, led the team in catches in 2016. Looking for them little slot receivers, Cole Beasley was your guy. Those little Wes Welker types, Julian Edelman. Cole Beasley was that for the Dallas Cowboys. And the reason why he became such a fixture in 2016 was then rookie Dak Prescott, his rookie season, feeling comfortable. And that's why I think where Dez kind of fell out of favor with the team, because Dez was a Tony Romo guy, while he wasn't a Dez guy, but definitely Cole Beasley for what he done. For what he has done, deserves to be on the Chin Check Radio all-time list, obviously as a backup. Let's get to our tight ends here. We got to go with the future Hall of Famer, Jason Witten. 2003 through 2017 and 2019, while missing a year to go be the lead guy on Monday Night Football. Folks, 1,215 receptions, fourth all-time, second among tight ends, behind 120 Gonzalez, 12,977 yards, and 72 touchdowns. Now, let's go through this man's accomplishments here. Most receptions in a single game by a tight end, 18. That's in 2012. Won the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. Most consecutive games played by a tight end, 235 games. If you include playoffs, 243. Most consecutive games started by a tight end, 179. If you want to include playoffs, 186. Fastest tight end to make 600 receptions in 125 games. Definitely has all types of Cowboys records. This man, unfortunately with him, the only thing is he has to wait 5 years in order to be enshrined in Canton. The man is clearly going to the Hall of Fame. No questions asked, that's my starter. And my backup is going to be tight end Jay Novacek. From 1990 through 1995, played for the Cowboys. 5 times Pro Bowls, 1991 through 1995. First team All-Pro, 1992. Second team All-Pro, 1991. 3-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl 27, 28, and 30. You want to talk about Troy Aikman's, one of his favorite targets besides Michael Irvin? It would definitely be Jay Novacek. So Jay Novacek was a true. I remember watching OJ, loved him. And you don't hear too much. He's one of the few guys, once he retired, you don't hear too much from him. He might pop up every now and again doing Cowboys documentaries, but you really don't hear too much from him. So this is definitely a fun list, folks, and we still got an offensive lineman to go. Now, the offensive line was the hardest list to put together because there's been a lot of talent on that Dallas Cowboy offensive line. A lot of talent. And let's start with our left tackle. It came down between a couple of guys. It really came down between a couple of guys. And in thinking about it, I had to go, because it came down to 3 guys. Tyron Smith, Mark Tuinei, Flozell Adams. And these were hard choices. Very, very hard choices. But I had to go for the starter, Tyron Smith. From 2011 to the present, 7 times Pro Bowl, 2013 through 2019, 2 times first team All-Pro, 2014 and 16, 2 times second team All-Pro, 2013 through 2015, part of the 2010 All-Decade team. Folks, this was hard. I watched Mark Tuinei, watched Flozell Adams, but Tyron Smith, when you're seen as a prototype of a left tackle, athletic, tall, muscular, long arms, cut up stomach, big hands, quick footwork, Tyron Smith is the truth. And if you really want to see the value of one Tyron Smith, go back and look at that Atlanta Falcons game in 2016 where Adrian Claiborne, I believe, had 6 sacks that one game. So that's the value of one Tyron Smith. No questions asked. He's going to the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's the same player that he was when he was younger. Of course, injuries are starting to, back injuries, hip injuries. So not the same player that he once was, but really in his prime years, guy clearly was the best left tackle in football. No questions asked. Mark Tuinei. I have to go with the late Mark Tuinei. Played for the Cowboys in 1983 through 1997. 3-time Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl 27, 28, and 30. 2 times Pro Bowl, 1994 and 1995. Understand this about Mark Tuinei. He's going up against the Bruce Smiths, okay, of the world. When you look at them, those lineups, he's going up against the Bruce Smiths. He was definitely the quiet guy out of that group, very soft-spoken. The late Mark Tuinei, if you go back and look at that, the Dallas Cowboy documentary, The Great Wall of Dallas, you hear Mark Tuinei, and you had Kevin Gogan was a personality, Nate Newton was a personality, Eric Williams was a personality. He really wasn't, just a quiet, big guy, tossing asses. Love Mark Tuinei. He definitely had to be on his list. And we're also going to go with Flozo Adams. Played for the Cowboys from 1998 through 2009. 5 times Pro Bowl, 2003, 2004, 2006, 2007, and 2008. Second team All-Pro in 2007. Flozell, I think it was Flozell, the Hotel Adams, I believe. And definitely a solid player. Definitely the Cowboys really doing that Bill Parcells era. Kind of really came up then. He was really there during the down years. What is ironic, during the down years of the Cowboys from that 2000 to 2002 era, him and Larry Allen were pretty much the two best gems on that team, especially on the offensive line. And needless to say, going into Larry Allen, he's definitely a starter as my guard. From 1994 to 2005, Super Bowl 30 winner, 11 times Pro Bowl, 1995 to 2001, 2003 through 2006, 7 times first team All-Pro, 1995 through 1990, all-decade teams in 1990 and 2000. Folks, you can make an argument that Larry Allen is possibly the greatest offensive lineman who ever played, and that's saying a lot. This is guys, Anthony Munoz, Bruce Matthews, DeMonte Dawson, Willie Roaf, Shields. I mean, you got guys on the offensive line here. You can make an argument that Larry Allen is possibly all the Oakland Raiders guys. They're the Jim Ottos, Gene Upshaw, Art Shell. You can make an argument that Larry Allen is the best offensive lineman of all time. Here's why. People forget, Larry Allen started off as a tackle. Okay, remember that now. You had Eric Williams, who's hurt in a car accident. Larry Allen was a rookie, playing tackle. Go YouTube a clip of there's an interception against the New Orleans Saints. Larry Allen runs down the linebacker as a tackle. He's running past Troy Aikman. Larry Allen runs him down. The very next year, Eric Williams comes back. They move Larry Allen to guard and becomes the greatest guard of all time. So clearly was a productive tackle as a rookie. Comes back, they move him in his guard, where he is an absolute cheese grater. An absolute cheese grater. I mean, whooping asses, tossing asses, going up against, we're talking about the Gilbert Browns, Warren Sapps, the John Randalls, and tossing these guys. I mean, Larry Allen was true. Bench pressing 700 pounds. So Larry Allen, no question in my mind. Clearly, he made our all-time greatest football team. You know he had to be on the greatest Dallas Cowboys team. So Larry's the truth. Can you imagine Tyron Smith and Larry Allen on the same offensive line? Ooh, boy. One can only imagine. Now, here's was another hard decision to make. Who is going to be the other starting guard? Who's going to be the other starting guard? I'm going to say, based on consistency and work ethic and already coming to the league, I'm going to give it to Zach Martin. Zach Martin, 2014 through the present, all-rookie team in 2014, 6-time Pro Bowl. Folks, put this into perspective. This man has been to Pro Bowl every year he's been in the league. 4 times first-team All-Pro, 2014, 16, 18, and 19. 2 times second-team All-Pro, 2015 and 2017. Love me some Zach Martin. Love Zach Martin. Came on as a rookie from Notre Dame and was seen as one of the best offensive linemen in the game. So I give Zach Martin all the credit in the world. He definitely had to be a starter. So I had to have Larry Allen and Zach Martin as some starters. And backing them up, big old Nate Newton. Super Bowls 27, 28, and 30. 6 times Pro Bowl. 1992 through 1996 and 1998. 2 times All-Pro, 1994 and 1995. Love me some big old Nate Newton. So definitely was the truth. Definitely was the beef in that middle. So he'll definitely be a good backup. Definitely wore guys down. Love me some Nate Newton. Great personality. Love me some Nate Newton. And honorable mention is going to be Leonard Davis. He played for the Cowboys, so definitely had to go with Leonard Davis. Didn't make the team, but I definitely wanted to definitely recognize him. Kind of a bit of a bust in Arizona, but definitely played well in Dallas. Now we're going to go to our centers. Folks, another hard decision even with our centers here. Another hard decision. But for our starting center, and folks, even as I do this broadcast, to choose a center right now is hard because it's coming down to Andre Gerard, Travis Frederick, and Mark Stepnoski. It's coming down to them. But at Chin Check Radio, we got to make a hard decision. So if we're choosing a starter, we're going to go with Travis Frederick. Travis Frederick, 2013 through 2019, missed 2018 with Ezekiel Elliott, 5 times Pro Bowl, 2014 through 2017 and 2019, first team All-Pro 2016, second team All-Pro 2014 through 2015, and the All-Rookie team in 2013. Definitely Travis Frederick was the truth. I did a broadcast on him, offensive line anchor. Please go check it out if you have not checked it out. Backing him up is going to be Mark Stepnoski, 1989 through 1994, 1999. Played for the Cowboys from 1989 through 1994. Then once again, 1999 through 2001. 2-time Super Bowl winner, 27-28. 3 times Pro Bowl from 1992 through 1994. 2 times All-Pro, 1992 and 1994. And part of the 1990 All-Decade team. Mark Stepnoski, and even the guys on that show, The Great Wall of Dallas, will tell you he wasn't the biggest guy, but he knew technique, he knew body positioning, and he knew leverage. And definitely the truth on those 1990s offensive line. Wasn't a big guy, but he definitely was moving asses across the middle. And behind him, I'm going to go with big old Andre Gerard from 2010 through 2002 through 2010. 5 times Pro Bowl, 2006 through 2010, and second team All-Pro in 2009. Andre Gerard, another solid player for the Dallas Cowboys. And going into right tackle, I'm going to go with Eric Williams as I started from 1991 through 2000. 4 times Pro Bowl, 1993, 1996, 97, and 99. 3 times first team All-Pro, 1993, 1995, and 1996. Won Super Bowls 27, 28, 30 with Cowboys. Eric Williams, people will say he was on his way to becoming the best offensive lineman of all time. He was what Larry Allen became, but because of hard living, poor choices, got into a car accident, which gave rise to Larry Allen, or gave a chance to Larry Allen, and really wasn't the same person physically after that. But Eric Williams was a true, and I've been watching him play, and you couldn't touch that guy. The guy was hardly giving up any sacks. The guy was a true, but he would go head up against the greatest defensive end of all time, Reggie White, and will give Reggie White a hard time. And this wasn't no double team back then like now you have a double team a guy or use zone blocking. It was straight up, head to head, man on man, lining up against Reggie White, who was the greatest defensive end of all time. And Eric Williams more than held his own against Reggie White. And this was during those 90s where you had those battles with the Cowboys and the 49ers and the Packers, and he held his own against Reggie White. He used to frustrate the hell out of Reggie White. Wouldn't give Lyle Collins some love, even though he just got placed on injured reserve. But Lyle Collins from 2015 through present, came up as a guard, eventually moved to tackle, and is actually playing very well as tackle. And yes, other Cowboys fans want to show some love to Doug Free. Now, Doug Free does not have any Pro Bowls, but you talk about a solid, productive, consistent player for the Cowboys, very underrated. Even myself, I kind of underrated him when he played. I always felt it was kind of a weak link, but obviously we were wrong. So Doug Free played for the Cowboys from 2007 through 2016. Now keep in mind, the years he played, he was on the line with Tyron Smith, with Travis Frederick, with Zach Martin, and these guys received Pro Bowls and All-Pros, while Doug Free was kind of seen as the odd guy out. but we're going to recognize Doug Free on the Chin Check Radio all-time greatest Dallas Cowboys team offense. Whew, that was a mouthful. We definitely enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed it. And until the next time, this is Chin Check Radio signing off. And if you want to put together your favorite all-time team, Giants and the football team, Washington and Eagles, please do. 49ers fans, please do. And we'll have a discussion and a debate about it. The Chin Check Radio signing out.